are not aware of, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a histories of things. Like as
I feel that people don't have the right to keep history from the world. And when I think about this stuff, we are live right now, aren't we?
Yes, we are live.
We're just talking away.
Bastard.
Yes, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Paranormal Talk. We're live on
Bastard.
the air. In case anybody just now noticed, we have been live for a few minutes here.
No
So
good.
now you guys know we didn't know we were live, and
sure
we
we
really
did.
do like each other as hosts. We had no idea we were live.
No.
Joe was being a sneaky, you know what?
Oh, trust me, they didn't
Clearly,
hear
you're
nothing
kinder
they
than I
weren't
just
supposed
was.
to hear. They didn't hear anything they weren't supposed
Not
to hear.
off air.
We were just
They gotta
talking
figure
about
it.
how the powers that be should not have the right to keep history
No,
from the
no, we were
public.
talking about that asshole Michael Angley is what we was talking about. Never answers his phone.
And that's the thing. There is that if you guys are aware about what the Vatican has hidden away,
Oh, I
the
know.
history is
Mm.
it's sad and it's scary that they would do that
Well,
to
I would
the
tell you
rest
what's
of
there, but
the
then I'd have to have you
population.
killed, man. So I
Control
just,
the masses. Control the masses. That's what
Joe,
it's
have you been
about.
into the bowels of the Vatican?
yes, ET took me for a tour. But that's beside the point. If I tell anybody, I got to kill him. I still remember this interview I did. I did this. He was a retired admiral from the Navy, and he's an FM out of California. So he calls me. We're talking. He said, "I know what kind of clearance you got. I did my research on you, blah blah blah." And he asked me this one question, and I said, "Now, John, if I ask this question, they gonna come cut your throat tonight, man." I said, "I can't." I said, "Probably
can't.
half your listeners might go with him." I said, "I don't want to feel responsible for taking our quarter to Los Angeles because I answered a question I knew I shouldn't answer." He said, "Well, what do you mean it wouldn't cuss? Why are they going to get me? I'm not the one. I'm good with the information. It's you people I ain't supposed to know. It's going to know." I said,
No.
Well,
and
the
he
thing
said, "Well,
that people don't understand is that the government is no longer in the part of doing whatever they're doing. It's in private sectors like DARPA and private
well,
things like that. So that's why the government doesn't have to disclose what they're doing because they're not doing that because it's in the private sector. So when you have weird things that are going on, and this is going to be a theme topic there going on is wider stuff been happening there later on. But I don't know. What do you think? Besides like the Tuskegee stuff, where government was actually really doing experiments on the human population, going up to now
Well, we're
that they
not
got
clean,
private.
that's for sure. I mean, we played a big part in many things in history, with wars, even with a lot of the stuff that you get into, you want to call conspiracy theory, MK Ultra. I just found out recently our prime minister that we had, what was it, 28 years, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, he was involved in all that stuff that we're just slowly coming to the surface now. Like we always, people joke that Canadians are so polite and everything. Well, the stuff I've been discovering about, not to get into politics because this really relates to history, we don't learn about that. And I have to agree with you, Michelle, that nobody has the right to keep history from the public, because how else do we learn? And then they feed this crap to kids in school that are lies, and then what happens is we perpetuate the myth, and then you never learn from the past. You're destined to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over.
Hmm. And they're so reluctant that when you do find new information, um, I always say there's that the good old boys club, they just don't want to go in and make those changes. Like I always use Kathleen Ann Ball, who was just on the show last week, and she had a discovery of the Knights Templars in Brazil 200 years before Columbus. And it's all in there. And it's just, I asked her, I said, have you gotten any resistance? Because essentially this find will change history. And she goes, yes, I have had a little bit of resistance. And she's not the first person to have said that.
I
So,
want to ask this question about the good old girls and the wise women that did not share mythical medical knowledge they're passed to anybody else. So it's not just as guys, but also women did the same thing too as well. If you look through in history, if you want to, you might not want to think about it, but it was true. women were as
Yes, women were
deceived
the
as
undoing many things.
But I think it
yes.
depends how far back you go, because there was a spell there where women really didn't have any say. So, you know what I mean? And there's a big stretch of that. You don't see women in the church per se. And the church is, the biggest, culprits of all of this. Like, I'm not saying through history that no, women didn't have their place in this whole situation. But on an average, women didn't even have a say, up until recent
So
years,
that's
unless you go
why-
way
that's
back
why
to
they-
ancient times, right?
That's why they did things in the back room and they kept it all hidden. See, you can play this both ways. This is so funny. That's why that secrets are put out there in history, right? That's why you have like, okay, well, hey, the men are ruling the world, so us women are going to go and do secret herbalistic different things, and we're going to go and keep all our information there secret way from the men so that we have power. And and it's not a thing about power, and not the power that people want to think about, but just I think that they would have knowledge. And that's what I mean. Knowledge is power. And that's why that's why like that the Library of Alexandria, that being burnt down and being destroyed. And there's
Thanks
500
to the church. Just saying, not the women.
No, but also that was also burnt down there too by Genghis Khan. If you go and look in the other thing there, and this is another part of history, about part of ancient lore about magic rugs that goes into the part about India that goes. There's so many things that are in here
huge.
that
It's huge.
we don't know the history of.
I've got an idea. I am suing women, especially women named Eve, for reparations, for getting my ass thrown out of. That's it. I want reparation. I want them now. Come on, ladies, get off. Get this. That's it, gentlemen. Y'all hear me?
Oh, us Canadian women.
I want reparations.
Rumors that you started that we beat our men and keep them.
Y'all beat y'all's men. I can't. Since this started, we've had like 100 guys writing out talking about how they're being beat by their women. I told you somebody donated $250 today to save the Canadian men. I was laughing my ass. That's what they wrote on the donation, to save the Canadian men.
I think we're just going to petition your wife to put you in a buddy cage.
I'm just saying it's time for reparations. If y'all ladies, when they got us kicked out of the Garden of Eden, still I'll just be chilling and watching the animals go by, running around naked and stuff. That's just scary. That whole thought was just scary.
The question is, Joe, why do you make fudge and you give it to your wife?
Because she's the boss, man. I'll mess with the boss. You know, y'all got to be the boss. She said, make the fudge. I said, yes, ma'am. What the hell are you talking about? See, guys forget women ran the world for a long, long time. And then somehow or another, somewhere along the guys, somewhere, I don't know, right after Christ, men took back over. Before that, women had a lot of. Yeah, let's have about to do a church. What's that, Caroline? Caroline, we are in the YouTube chat room. Just pop on over there. It's on United Public Radio. That's where we are. Just pop in.
Yes, please do. We've got somebody in there already. UFO Bigfoot. Apparently, again, everybody said hi.
But I'm telling you, it's time for reparations, Dal. We got to sue these women. I'm gonna write a letter to Kamala Harris tomorrow morning saying I want my damn reparations.
I won't bring that. It's not politics tonight. I forgot.
She'll be like, but I'm a woman of color. I said, I don't care. I still want my reparations because you got me thrown out of Eden, biatch.
How about Ilhan Omar, and how about Hillary Clinton?
They're probably happy we got thrown out.
That is a whole other show.
Women in power that have done some really sneaky stuff.
You're going to see me start growing. My horns are going to start coming out.
One thing I will add that I just got sent before the show, and that I won't bring anything else up. Kamala Harris apparently had her corona shot on live TV, and I got the video shot. And being a nurse, I watched the person that gave the injection, and I went,
and it didn't go in.
What the hell is she doing? No, when you have a sharp, you take great care. You have a container. She takes it and she puts it on the arm of the chair. And what the hell is she doing? Trying to recap it? Then they focused in. The needle bends. It's a fake needle.
That's the second fake video that's come out. Another one where they weren't even pushing anything into the one frontline worker.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yep.
Get me started.
I heard it's
Get me
mandatory for
started.
you people, so I feel for y'all when y'all turn into apocalypse zombies. Ladies, one night we'll be on air when I probably doing one of these panel shows, and all of a sudden you'll see these three turn into creatures.
And we're all Canadian too. Joe's outnumbered.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, when y'all turn
I'm
into
just going to
zombie
wait and see what
apocalypse,
happens to everybody else.
Yep.
Self-preservation.
all the American guys said they're scared of y'all Canadian women, so we ain't gonna see them.
No.
They've heard
Have they
about
ever been
Delby
with
and
one?
locked in the cage.
Have they ever
They
been
said,
with
they said, what did Michael say today? Does Michelle really have a husband? I said, yeah, but she keeps him locked in a dungeon. I said, you know, she got her own private damn dungeon down there. Got some Iron Maiden going on and stuff. I'm just saying, man.
I won't say I don't have odd things in the house, but I'm going to leave it right
we
there.
know it's true.
I'm going to leave it right there. I am a collector of oddities, and I will leave that right there.
She's a collector, right, guys? I'm just saying, y'all be careful.
Yeah.
American
That's
guys, y'all
right.
be careful.
That's
Y'all
right.
just especially if the Canadian women start being nice to you.
The Red Room.
Oh my
Run.
God.
I'm just telling you guys, run quickly.
Joe, what are you doing? She's not the Jeffrey Dahmer of Canada. Okay, she's not going and eating little children and taking little people out there. Come on, Joe.
Right. That's right. That's right.
He collects oddities.
He didn't know what to say. He's like, well, okay, whatever. Uh-huh.
UFO Bigfoot thinks that's funny. He's laughing. He or
Give me
she.
a
I
few
think it's
minutes,
a he, but I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. UFO
Hold on, it's
Bigfoot.
right here. All right, let's see. And they say I don't have no order. What? Well, I'll tell you what. Lately, people just trying to drive me to drinking.
Don't take much.
It's trying to lately. Let me see if I can log into here.
I paid for New Year's Eve. I'll tell you, all day the next day. Never again.
I'm the good kid on the block. I like being in control of my head, so I don't indulge too often.
And if you're wondering what we're talking about, UPRN had a New Year's Eve party. Joe arranged on New Year's Eve. We had a lot of fun. Some of us more fun than we should have.
Yeah, it was on a Thursday that went into a Friday, and then now it's Monday.
I know. What was funny is
Happy New Year, right?
They didn't take it out their account.
And come morning, there was just dead air on the network, and it showed 5 people.
I guess I'm had to reorder or something. I don't know. I don't see it. And it sure said it did it a minute ago. So
I'm getting even with Del because apparently he told me I was passed out on the couch. And he's going, Laura, how do you like this song? And he says I was running away. So I said, I'll remember.
Extra time in the cage. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's going to be 30 minutes at least. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay, what are you on about, Joe?
Nah, it's crap. Dealing with stupid people.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. It's just part of the world.
Are we having a Q&A? What are we doing?
This is the paranormal show anyway. So
yeah.
This is the paranormal host week. And what was paranormal? We'll start with you, Michelle.
What was paranormal this week? All the shit walking around my house.
Welcome to the club.
Including today. Just weird stuff, though, the last week. Like really loud noises. Last night, I'm sitting here by myself, and there was this huge bang over, like, just right over my head. Now, this is a really old, like 1872. Old for Canadian standards, this part of the world. Yep. And the walls are 3 feet thick and the ceilings are like, 10, 12 feet high. And whatever it was, it just sounded like huge, And then Wayne comes home and I'm like, where were you? He was just out in the back. I'm like, oh, that's great. This is what happened. Ooh, maybe just a squirrel.
Don't you love men? Like, do you live in a house with paranormal activity and you're blaming it on a squirrel? Yeah. That would be Del too.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Logical freaking squirrel. Must have been a behemoth because
I was going to say a mammoth squirrel.
I know. It must have been the size of a stinking raccoon.
This comes weird because when she just mentioned behemoth,
on the second floor,
I showed a picture to Laura. Well, we were sleeping downstairs. I hooked up the security cameras, and there was a wolf that was bigger than my car that walked across our old house there. And
I
said
see
that
white one.
dire wolves don't exist. And
They do, because I'm sure I saw one in 2019 in my backyard.
Yeah.
Because when Wayne put his handprint in the snow next to this animal, I didn't even think we had wolves down here. I grew up with wolves and nothing like this big. And the print was bigger than his hand. So it was bigger than his hand.
Well, we had a security camera, and the reason I set it up is because our tires had 14 tires were getting punctured. Yeah. And we were figuring that somebody was puncturing our tires.
We had all kinds of stuff going on in that house, Michelle.
It was really, really weird is that it was one night, all of a sudden, the lights went out, and then all of a sudden the lights went back on, like the street lights. Mm-hmm. And there was a wolf that was in front of my car that was bigger than my car. And,
that's crazy.
And
wait till you hear my story. I was talking to a friend online, and she was in California at the time, and girl chat. She goes, I just colored my hair, and she goes, "Oh, I love the color of your hair. What brand is that?" I said, "Oh, I went out to the garbage. 3:00 in the morning on a Saturday, right?" I come out the stairs. Across the street, I kid you not, this white glowing wolf had to be at least 12, 15 super high. And it turned its head to look at me, and it had glowing blue eyes. And the girl I'm talking to is going, "Laura, get back in the house. Laura, get back in the house." I'm going, "Why? There's no problem." And I'm showing her, I'm going, "Can't you see? Get in the house." So I was like mesmerized. So I watched it, and it walked. We had like a cul-de-sac. It crossed. And as it crossed a telephone pole, it was gone. But she was freaking out. So I went back in the house. Yeah. My oldest kid was still living with us at the time. He didn't know anything about it. He goes, "Mom, what the heck was going on?" He goes, "I could hear all this growling outside. I never heard it."
Wow, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. There definitely are things around, man. Say what you want. They're definitely out there. People can pretend all they want. Like I said, I didn't think we had wolves down south. We have a lot of coyote, or sometimes we have the coy wolves kind of crosses. Yeah. But to see a full blown, and when this thing was so big, I'm going to talk about it later on the show if we get to that point later with Dell. But this thing was so big. I'm in the middle. It's a summer afternoon, not summer. I'm talking about it's a March afternoon, and there was snow on the ground. We just had a fresh fall. And I'm sitting there washing dishes in the back, so I don't have my phone handy. I left it in the den. This is at my other house in Burlington. So what's freaking Burlington, right? I'm surrounded by a ravine, though, but right next to a road. And all of a sudden, this huge animal is chasing a rabbit out to the back part of my property. Wow. And I look, and it stops, and it haunches up. And I'm like, the rabbit takes off under one of the outbuildings. This thing stops and puts up its chest. It wasn't on its hind legs or anything. Stood right, all four. Wow. And I'm looking at it going, that is one big effing animal. That's all I remember saying. My hands are wet because I've been doing dishes. I'm looking like it's a huge window. And I know if I move quick, I'm going to startle it because I startle the deer and the rabbits, whatever. So I'm trying not to move really quick. I realize I don't have my phone, and I'm like
cursing.
Shit. So I inch closer and closer to the window, really slow, and it turns around and it swings the other way. So I'm thinking, okay, now I can get closer, and it just gave itself a big staunch, and it like poof down into the ravine, and I'm thinking. So anyway, Wayne came over at that point. I'm like, yeah, just got to see what the hell I just saw. And he went out and he saw the prints, and they were like next to his hand. They were bigger.
Wow.
This is a funny thing. Okay, when I was going to school back in 1991, 92, taking environmental engineering, and then I had to do a co-op. I was working for the Ministry of Environment of Canada, right? And in the building was the MNR. And I went and talked to him about wolves. And there was a huge thing that the MNR was saying there are no wolves in Northern Ontario.
Kiss my royal honey. I grew up with them.
We did too.
They didn't want to scare people away from going to the provincial parks that they had. Mm-hmm. That was the thing they said. And I was talking to the guys, it's like, there's wolves. They're big wolves that are around.
Yeah, they're timber wolves.
Yeah.
We had them up north where I was.
But the Canadian government put a mandate in there that says we will not mention that there is wolves in Northern Ontario because we make money from provincial parks. All the
Oh,
provincial
I could
parks.
see that. But people educated themselves. Like, I mean, I've been around wolves a good chunk of my young life.
Even with timber
Timber
the
wolves.
not
They're
timber
big.
wolves. I mean, mountain lions all across Northern Ontario, cougars all around here, and the huge thing. But the Ministry of Natural Resources refused to say that that's an actual population that's around here.
Right.
And then you wonder why people get snatched up and taken.
Yeah, well, because of how they react. I mean, I'd go up into the mountains, and I remember being like 11 years old, sitting on one of the mountain peaks and just having an apple, and right on the other mountain peak, which I could have threw the apple and hit him. He was that close. A big timber wolf just sat there and he watched me, and I watched him. And when I was done, I just left the core, and I just walked down the mountain, and without even another thought.
Yeah, but what people don't realize with nature, right? If they're hungry, yes, they're going to hunt. But a lot of times they don't want to be around humans at all. Like
No,
so.
but it's all in how you move, and you just don't make eye contact.
Well, this is the difference. This is the difference part that people understand is that a wolf pack works as a group, and they're usually when they're going out hunting. A single wolf that probably was
that's not the one you worry about.
Was just sort of just watching you and said, "Hey, what's going on there? I don't really care about that." But
no, we have them.
But this is the thing that people don't. Well, I want to. We're going to talk.
Use your words,
and we're going to talk about this later.
Use your words. Slow down. Sound it out.
We're going to talk about this later about Northern Ontario population 780,000, Southern Ontario 13.8 million. The difference. There's so much area out there that people don't understand that's going on, and
even from a paranormal standpoint,
I was just thinking everywhere. That normally.
Yeah, there's lots of people I'm aware of. So Michael has joined us.
Hey, Michael, Joe's been trying to get a hold of you.
You talking paranormal or news? What's going on?
Paranormal.
There's not a continuation. I'm pretty sure paranormal is like a Q&A, apparently.
Okay.
Is it?
So where's all the questions? Where's all the questions?
Yeah, Joe. We didn't get a chance to say hi to Linda. He's ignoring us.
Hello.
Michael, so what do you think about election fraud? And
we're not
talking about that. No.
And how's that deal with wolves?
You asked Michelle about paranormal
we can talk about it.
You have to ask Michael now, right?
Show.
You can share our story.
We could talk about it a little bit because dead people voted in the election. So, it is kind of paranormal when the ghosts can vote. That's pretty intense.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, Joe, we can't even hear. Ooh, he's mad.
I don't know what he's
doing. What happened to Joe?
It looks like he's in pain.
I don't know. He's muted his microphone. Doesn't want to talk to us or listen to us.
Michael, so Dell asked Michelle, have you noticed any paranormal activity this week? And she shared that. Have you had any this week? Because we have. I'll let Dell tell the story.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, not me.
You want me to tell the story? Okay. Yeah, it was really weird. It said, how do I say this that doesn't sound crazy, but it sounds realistic?
Just tell us.
It was really weird. Went outside and I heard two people talking, and they're actually they're neighbors, but I'm not sure if it was them or not, speaking in Russian or speaking in tongues or speaking in some sort of weird language that I didn't recognize because I'm Ukrainian, and my grandma, I heard it and I didn't realize what was going on.
You called it gibberish.
Gibberish, yes. And as soon as I hit the door to come inside, I got hit with a huge amount of heat. And then I showed Laura, gave her my jacket, and she felt my jacket, says, "Wow, that's hot." And I went, wow, that's really weird. And then we had her younger son really act really weird, being very aggressive for
No,
about a day.
agitated, really agitated. It's not normal for him.
Yeah, and I was like, I says, wow, I says, this is really weird that something like this would happen, and that we would have. Okay, now I'm hearing a noise.
Tell him about the
and
cans. What happened with the cans on the stairs?
Oh
'Cause you
yeah,
had-
another part there is that I had cans on the stairs, and doors weren't open. There's no wind going through there, and they were all thrown down the stairs, down to the basement, all across the basement.
Wow,
And
that's
there was no
crazy.
wind or blowing of anything. I tried to recreate this with my air compressor, and I could not get the same effect. And I was just like, how the
Well,
hell
you said
did
you
that
felt like
happen?
something jumped on your back. And to be
Yeah, that's-
fair, my youngest son has autism, so he's quite sensitive to anything. But the really odd thing was, after Del told me about this, now I think I said this to you, Michelle, he might have heard Del and I talking, but he's asked me twice actually in the past month. You don't have ghosts in this house, right? And then to get
So he's seeing something, because they're really sensitive, right?
He can see really well. He's actually quite powerful with the third eye.
Yes.
But he's and when he was growing up, yeah, there was issues with getting really agitated or threatening aggression. We haven't seen that in a long time, and he something was really setting him off this week, and like things that normally would, and it was nothing. I think you were joking with him or something, Adele.
Yeah, well, this funny. This happened over about 48 hours of major, huge activity going on. Besides, like the crazy the speaking outside, and then the cans being thrown down the stairs, the heat blast, and then her son, they're saying, "Oh, I felt that too." And then Laura also felt the jacket. Says it's warm. Like, why would this be warm like this right now?
Right.
Being outside at minus 17 degrees.
I was watching behind you, actually, Del. I didn't say this earlier, but I was trying to see if it was my son Justin, but it wasn't. It looked like there was a little bit of a shadow right towards that back wall there. That kind of, I'll keep an eye on it off and on, or if anybody else is watching, see what you guys see. Just sort of, just seemed to kind of go around the corner.
But that's my crazy paranormal experience. Michael?
Do you live by a major roadway?
Yes, we do.
Nope, we don't.
Somebody killed recently?
Street, it's a busy street.
No. We have a school beside us, and the major highway is about a quarter of a mile away from us there. So
there's a lot of activity on the street.
Somebody killed around there lately, like a car accident or something?
Nope.
No, but there is a suicide that I picked up across the street.
Yeah, suicide too. That's heavy. I mean, like I feel energy there that's really heavy and angry. So confused, angry, heavy.
So why would it attach it to me? Because I'm such a fun-loving guy, and because
probably somebody trying to rescue you from the cage.
Trying to get you a message,
There
Just
we
saying,
go.
I don't know.
Hey.
Just a thought.
Like get your attention.
Evil. Women are evil, and this guy was trying to rescue me.
Maybe that's it.
That's why the two old birds were talking in tongues, right?
He's taking you to hell, Del.
I know.
Not hell's bells. Del's hell.
Maybe.
Well, we had talked to Michelle briefly off air, and she's right. A few other people have said this too, like the veil's thin right now too, and
allegedly, yeah, it is. Well, if you go back to even ancient times of the solstice, they all believe this time was, it's not just Halloween. It's really more along the lines of this time of year is supposed to be, the veil between the two worlds are supposed to be the thinnest. If you go into ancient belief systems and such. So it's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's like, that would be it.
Yeah, we've talked about this many times before, is that this is, the veil gets lower down here as it gets darker into the frost months and the cold winter. And that's a true thing. Oh, well, or
Well, colder and drier temperatures.
right.
Like, do you ever notice, like, especially when you're doing investigations, Lorelei, because I know you do them as well. One of the things I always notice that when it's hot and humid, there doesn't seem to be as much activity. I've had people, message me in the summertime, for example, and they say, "Well, there's something going on in the house." I'm like, "Okay," and they think, "All right," and then I ask what's going on, and they'll explain it to me. And one of the first questions I ask is, "Do you have the air conditioner on?" Because it dries all the humidity out of the air and the house gets really cold. So I did an experiment with a woman one time. I said, "Can you just indulge me and just turn the air conditioner off for a couple of days and let me know how it goes?" And because it was really stinking hot out. I mean, down south here, we get a lot of that humidity, it's stagnant air. And she said, everything went quiet. I said, "Okay, can you just power up the air conditioner again?" To which she did. And she said within about 6 hours, when the house got really cold again, then she started having things going on. I go, okay, it could be just contracting, like it could be the wood, it could be like anything just contracting. So over a period of, 2 or 3 days, when everything should be pretty stabilized at that point, structurally speaking, the activity just kept amplifying. So just another theory, but I found it really interesting.
I have a theory on this. It says, do you wonder about cold and versus hot, how sexual energy and people with dreams amplifies between a cold or a hot area?
Do you know why? Because when you're stupid hot and freaking it's so humid, you just don't want to even get off the damn couch.
That's true.
Right? Whereas when you're cold, you just want to cuddle up.
Well, you know what I was trying to figure out? My birthday's in August.
Sounded good.
That sounds good, because I was going to say my birthday's in the middle of August, and some of the worst months we had, especially in our house, would be around my birthday. But then, you know what? The heat would start to settle down a little bit. It would start to cool off a bit. But we had crazy stuff happen. But a lot of times it was right after Christmas that we would see a lot into January. And to me, when you were describing that weather, and Dell's lived in Toronto, I've been to Toronto many times, or just Southern Ontario, and Michael probably living in New York, same type, and Joe too, where he lives. It's just so heavy and sticky, like you're swimming through mud if you could even move.
Now, here's a part there is that if you're dehydrated and if you think like a succubus, you want to go and draw things in, right? So would there be more interaction during that time, during the summer versus the winter?
I don't know. Everything's like theory at that point,
I think it all is, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it's just all you can do is just experiment, really, And some people are pretty good about it. They'll just like, okay, you say, well, can we try this? Can we try this? They're like, okay. Whereas others are like, no stinking way. I just want it out.
Well, the weird thing was our whole neighborhood seemed to be affected in this home we were in, and I had somebody contact me that works specifically with these type of entities, and not to get rid of them. They work with them. And the reason why I actually had him on my show, it was really interesting, but he gave me the name. Out of anybody I've ever talked to, he gave me 3 names, and one of them was right. And when I confirmed the name, he had said, well, that's actually something to, how did he put it? Conqueror of worlds, or conqueror of, it was a group. So he said it made sense with what was going on, but it was like the whole street all around had been affected.
Yeah.
So I have to ask Michael, because Michael hasn't.
Well, yeah, but Michelle was going to say something. I'll let her finish.
Have you
No, it's okay.
Had in contact with for the last month or the last week, Michael?
What? I didn't hear you. Everybody was talking.
Have you had in contact with for the last week, Michael Angley?
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. There's always stuff going on, like a little this, a little that, or you hear banging. Like the place where I am now, I'm the only one here. And I heard banging on the wall a couple of weeks ago. But nothing more than that, It doesn't feel bad, put it that way. The energy in your place, to me, feels bad. Like it feels real heavy and a low vibration. So you might want to get rid of it.
Do you figure that it's like anti-Canadian energy?
Maybe it's
that it hates like the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay, see right there.
It's a
No,
Chinese soldier.
no Habsies, no Habs, no Habs.
No, it's heavy because whatever it is, it could very well easily be a suicide because it feels like it's in torment, and if it's in torment,
I picked that up. I
it's
picked
gonna
it up actually because our neighbor that was right next to us used to live across the street, and
Yeah.
she was explaining because when we moved in here, the person that managed the property manager knew we were on Paranormal Survivor, so everybody kind of knew where we were moving in, and she was telling me about some of the activity. And the first thing I said, was there a suicide in that basement? It's a duplex. She goes, no, actually next door. So I don't understand maybe why he'd be all ramped up right now. Maybe it's close to the time he passed, or, with a
something
big Christmas.
drew. She's trying to make contact with you. Something drew him in. Maybe he wants to move on to something, or he can't. I don't know. It feels awfully bad and confused and heavy, though. Like alarmingly bad. So you might want to take care of it.
I can use this pen and let them go and talk and write down what they're feeling.
Dal.
I mean,
That would be called automatic writing, and you'd have to let them channel you to do that, which is a form of possession.
Yes,
think of it.
There you go. This is a great topic. Yes. And how is that bad or good?
The state that they're in is pure energy, pure emotion, right? So you got to look at it from that aspect. They're limited physical, but not zero. I mean, I've had situations where people have lost stuff moved around, coffee grinders, things like that, gone, and then coming back 5 days later. One case, the laundry was gone, and then they went back in. The girl goes back in, the laundry was thrown all around the room. A day later.
So, Michael,
Crazy,
what's
right?
your theory on that? Do you think they just veil it, or do you think it actually disappears? Like, do you think that the spirits will create a veil around it, just to mask it, or do you think they really disappear?
I don't think they disappear unless they want to go. And
no, I mean the objects. Like, let's say the laundry, for example.
I think it.
I will say is that I have a bag. I've lost 13 socks in the past 10 years, and I have a side of socks. And these
Del,
socks
it's the sock
disappeared.
gobbler. You know that.
So this is the thing that I've talked about.
I know exactly where they are.
There is a sock goblin out there.
I know where they are. It's the succubus. The succubus came and took them from you, and has a huge collection.
I'm serious. I have socks that have disappeared, and I have the other side of the sock because there's the right and the left.
Tell you
and
that's
lost
not unique. It happens.
If you bought the same socks all the time, it wouldn't matter. You'd always have matching pairs. Just saying.
No, the thing is, though, is that you don't wear the socks the same way on the same day, so one can get dirty and it might be a little bit browner or grayer than the other one. So, and when she doesn't buy the right laundry detergent,
why he ends up in the
and then it doesn't come out the same way. It's not the same as bright. It's a little bit discolored. But I'll tell you, it says you put 2 socks in the washer, and one will come out, and the other one disappears. And
I appreciate your feedback because it'll be me the one that gets rid of anything here.
There is a goblin that takes socks.
It's a sock gobbler. Everybody knows.
Yeah, they say the gremlins. Yeah. There's a lot of stories about gremlins where things go missing, and then people will just say, okay, you know what, like that's enough, put it back. I know, and then, or I've had enough, and then they get firm, they say, put it back. And then you come back a couple of hours later, and then they bring it back. So maybe you're just approaching the sock gremlin in an appropriate way. You just have to.
We've had that happen with their keys. They're right there where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Hang on. And when I was just going to say, when you go, you bend down to put your shoes on, stand up, keys are gone. Tear the house apart, think you're going crazy. This is the old house, not here. And so you give up where you were gonna go. You leave, and then you a couple hours later you check the mail. There's the damn keys sitting there right where they were. So I think they actually take them. I do.
Well, this is the weirdest thing though, is that we've had like keys missing and gone to some place that would be outside of the house in the mailbox, and you would never ever put your keys in the mailbox. This is how crazy things have happened. Like, and it's strange. That's the paranormal.
Mm-hmm. There's a
You
question
know what
in
it is?
chat.
It's
If you want to
beyond
get
that.
it, Lily. Yeah.
Paranormal is the wrong term. It's really science, because I talk about quantum entanglement all the time on the show and quantum physics. If you want to know how to make a quantum maker disappear or move around, it's quantum entanglement. It's going to do it, quantum tunneling. And as a matter of fact, they just transported particles. What was it? 27 kilometers, man. You know, from one place to the other instantaneously through mountains, rock, and all that, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's the truth of it. So if you want to know how ghosts get around, that's how they get around. If you want to know how they become physical, that's how they become physical. And everything's a vibration, right? Even the object, even the coffee maker. And some people will even argue that it's not even real, that you make it real by observing it. You know, then we get into a whole bunch of unreality. That's
holographic reality.
Or
we can go on forever.
The Matrix, right? We have a really good question in the chat, you guys. Michelle brought it up.
Michael's going into metaphysics. Michael's going into metaphysics, and I love this topic. This is so funny.
Well, we have a really good question in the chat. Let's give this person in the chat a chance. This is from Zarito, and it says, "Is there anyone here in this live that can contact extraterrestrial humanoids psychologically?"
I'm a witch. Because I'm a lesbian.
No, take it seriously, Del. This is a question. So is anybody able to do that?
If I believe it, then it's true.
All I can tell you with that is they just seem to come around. But there'll be times when I've sort of put out boundaries because they do come here. I have woken up and I have their hands on my head or they're standing right beside me, and it wigs me out at night. Not just, it took me a while to get used to being comfortable with them being in my space. I was told basically stop looking at it like it's a personal attack and just, try to ease into it. So I remember the first time I saw one there, I just turned around and kind of went, nope, just went back to sleep and like, screw that. So I sort of set boundaries and said, look, you know what? I would prefer, I would prefer you come during the day, because I won't feel like it's so intrusive. And there will be times that I'm researching and I can sense them behind me, and I'll just sit there and say, okay, what is it you want me to see? Because I'm sitting in front of a computer screen, and I just find myself all of a sudden researching and in all kinds of different directions, and then I end up at a point where I don't even remember how I actually got to that point in the research. So, I mean, psychologically, I don't know. I mean, I put it out there and they seem to have, abided by that, at least, to this point. Not that they still don't come around at night, but I just haven't caught them. But I'm more comfortable during the day.
They are evil?
No,
some sort of nefarious.
Not all of them.
Programming.
No. I think a lot of it is how we perceive them, and I think it might depend on which species we're talking about. Yes, I mean, I've seen the grays here. I've had a lot of the different, like flashes of light here. I've seen things go across while we're driving, like that's all translucent, and I'm just kind of like, okay, it's like we see a lot of that. But do I get a sense that they're evil? I think it was just because I find them, I'm like, why do you have to be so intrusive if you're here for a good reason, sort of thing? But when I saw that they sort of respected the boundaries that I put by saying, look, I would rather you come during the day. It's like, I know, because I hear them moving around. I hear things getting knocked over. And as a medium, I know that I'm not dealing with something in spirit, because our spirits are very respectful and I know what they feel like. So
I just, go ahead, Michelle.
No, that's okay. That's just my experience.
I just wanted to ask Michael. Says Michael, how do you find that with things that you've encountered there? Do you find it the same way?
Which way?
That
evil?
Go and dictate how they can react to you day to day.
React to me?
Yeah.
You mean the place that I'm at?
Yeah.
Or other experiences that I've had in my life?
No, the extraterrestrials. He's asking if they're evil. Do you find them evil? Perceive them? I was going to share something after Michael, but
you know what the problem is with extraterrestrials, or any kind of level, any kind of intelligence on a way higher level. There's this thing called the cosmic equation, where the communication between two groups is very difficult to do. Not impossible, but it'd be like you communicating with a cat or a dog, I mean, so it's kind of on that level, but it's more about what do they want, what's their daily life like, what are their goals, because every creature has some kind of goal, no matter what. Even if you're an animal, your goal is to live and eat and survive, basically, right? So if they're on a certain level and survival's not a key to their life, then they have to have some other kind of goal. So maybe their goal is shepherding other beings into a higher level. But now in this world,
our understanding might be far off from what they're.
Well, I don't feel the way that it doesn't sound like anybody here feels like they're evil to me. And I remember first time I talked to Joe about my show, we talked about ETs, and he had a really good point, was the fact that, if they wanted to do really evil, nefarious things, they could have done it.
Well, that's the thing,
but you don't know that they don't. They just wipe it.
The thing
they
is,
scrub
so
it.
we don't
right?
understand. Maybe their part about evil is actually reality and good thing.
No, I wasn't done. I listened to actually a really interesting podcast. I have some missing time. I don't know what happened. I said if I ever visit Joe physically, he said that he would do a regression to see. But the thing is there's three different cases, and I get a lot of people. Maybe you do too, Michelle or Michael, that come to me for readings. I've had people describe it as visions, all kinds of things, and it seems to depend on the species. Because I actually contacted Joe about one of the people I did a reading for, because she'd actually, interestingly enough, shared she'd had a near-death experience, and I think she had a lot more abilities than what she was aware she did, because as she started explaining who the being was, it was like she projected the picture in my mind. I knew exactly it was an Arcturian. I found a picture. She goes, "That's exactly what I was looking at." And then when she started to explain that she, in this vision, and it wasn't a vision, she said she was laying on a table, and she said there were three standing between her legs. I knew right away there was a baby involved. There was a whole, everything she told me. It was like, so I think she was almost projecting this to me, but I kept hearing, you contracted before you came into this lifetime, you agreed to this, you contracted to it. So that's why I had contacted Joe. I go, like, am I picking that up right? Like, have you heard this before? And he said, yeah, sometimes that happens.
See, this is the problem.
So tomorrow,
this is the problem, Michael. Michael, this is the problem. I'm going to just say with you there. Maybe you agree or disagree that women have a different idea about contacting. Maybe.
Well, you know what it is. I mean, I've been talking on the show a lot about telepathy and the pineal gland, and how animals also have the pineal gland.
Yep.
So when people communicate with their pets and whatever, it's really beyond the feeling. It's more of a real communication. So if anything is going to talk to us or communicate, it's going to be that. But interesting you mentioned dreaming, because tomorrow night on Discovery Paranormal at 8:00 Eastern, I'll be talking about precognitive dreams and lucid dreaming.
He be lying too. He be lying. We be talking about politics tomorrow night. What the hell he's talking about?
That was such a good plug. I'm giving Michael the thumbs up. That was such a good plug.
Michelle, I was going to ask you, though, I was looking for my interview I did with Dr. Chuck Kennedy.
So I tossed it in.
Came up with Dr. Chuck Kennedy.
What about him?
He claims he's mapped where psychic ability is in the brain.
I'm sure he has. He's mapped all kinds of people.
But I agree with it, because I always thought it was the pineal gland and the third eye. And he says he's been able to map it. He calls it the region of size. That's what I was going to say. So you've heard that. And it makes a lot of sense.
Chuck has been on our show several times.
I know. That's why I said so. I knew you knew him. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. No, he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Now, what about the heart? What about the heart brain? Because they say the heart also has its own brain. It's got a cortex.
Yes, we're doing paranormal tonight. What do you think about harmonics and music, and how does that work with voice and speaking, with paranormal ghosts And the thing that
Wait. I'm
religion-
stopping all y'all. Y'all not even on topic for tonight. Y'all
I
not
know.
getting
Religion had a
We've
sidetracked.
been waiting for
Y'all
you.
lucky I got sidetracked, but I'm back now. I'm not sidetracked no more.
religion had a big.
So you finished
history
dinner.
with the
You're saying that you
No,
finished your
actually, I
dinner.
didn't. I finished screaming at two different groups of people over dinner is what I did.
Oh,
First
Oh,
off,
man.
we ain't even going to get into that. And then I had
Joe,
found
we-
out somebody
Joe-
double
Joe, we
charged me at a
passed you
steakhouse.
by.
Night. But anyway, enough about all of that. So
Okay,
what
so
the topic's supposed to be tonight is who's your favorite researchers in the field, in the UFO and paranormal field.
Well, of course, it's Bill.
And
We already
then got
know
nothing.
that.
We're
You can't
nowhere
be
near
nobody on
that
the
right
station.
now.
Yeah, it can't be nobody on the station.
we already drove
I'd
into a
have to
different
pick 3
town.
people in paranormal on the
Actually, Joe, we
station.
had a really good question in the chat that I'd love to hear your thoughts on. Everybody else gave them. This person's a Rito. I know you're, and then I'm not trying to get off topic, but this is kind of your field. It says, is there anyone here in this live that can contact extraterrestrial humanoid psychologically? Michelle shared her experience.
He said it comes with a dark fudge that Joe makes there every week, right?
Macadamia nut fudge.
ET keeps a contact with all its contactees constantly 24/7. It never goes away. They could be
Like
on the other side of the
Wi-Fi.
galaxy. They'd still have you be in your head. It's just part of what it is. It's part of the experience. That's why contactees know, or they start getting that weird sense when something's coming, because their handlers thinking about them. And they start getting a little antsy, a little jitty, and the closer they get, the more antsy and jitty they get until either they pass out or get taken, one or the other. But really and truly, I mean, they do keep a link with all their abductees and contactees. It's just an easy, something our government's learning right now is they're developing a technology to track people through their DNA. Instead of using devices and all of this, it's just easier because we all have very unique DNA.
Aren't they?
It's been something. Well, they learned that from ET because ET doesn't. Everybody's, ET used implants. No, ET doesn't need fucking implants. ET's got a psychic connection to all their contactees. They don't even need your DNA. They can find just by thinking about you.
Well, it's probably why they're doing all this Ancestry.com stuff. You think that's why they're trying to figure out who's who?
The government. We gave unwittingly. I gave the government something they didn't have when we told them about the DNA and the blood type study. So that gave them a step of something they never had before, because they're under the same thing I'm doing. They're actually doing the same thing I'm doing. They're looking for contactees and people who have been contacted that don't know they've been contacted. The majority of people who have been taken never know, so you have to find a way to find those people. That's what all of ICAR studies have always been about.
But why? Why find the ones that don't know? What does it matter?
Because they're pieces of the puzzle. The more pieces of the puzzle you got, the bigger the picture you have. Okay. And you can, if you're only going by the ones that work for the aliens, then you're being limited to some of the truth. Because like everything else we found in the universe, they lie just like everything else does. So,
well, for sure. I mean, I only speculated having little bits and pieces of memory up until probably a year and a half ago, and it's opened up a lot of stuff.
You know what? Logically, if you're going to abduct a lot of people, there's got to be a reason to do it. I think that they're advancing people. If they abduct people, they have to be putting something. They're not taking something out of you. It's more about putting something in you to advance you as a species. Because you see how
either one.
Humans are still very stuck in the past and hung up on their violent tendencies. And even your word evil. Evil is a interpretation. It's a perception, of what's truly evil. It's like, to me, animal abuse is evil, but there's, but then again, we kill over 70 billion animals a year to eat them. You know what I mean? So it's kind
alligators, frogs,
it's kind of like it's a matter of interpretation,
Okay, Michael, I'll put this in there. If you're an advanced if you're an advanced race that travels across the galaxy, or maybe in or out of a dimension, why would you need to inject something into a lesser hominid? That makes sense.
As more of a, as a shepherding type of situation, just like the stories from way back of these angels that came down and shepherded mankind. The fallen angels built the entire structure of the world. I mean, the very buildings people live in.
Totally.
So,
but you don't need to tag people. After you tag one, you don't need to tag centuries.
Why not? We do
They
it. We
tag-
do it.
they don't
We do
tag
it to
anybody.
birds. We do it to deer. We do it to bear. We do it to all these species of animals that
Oh,
tag.
we
We
tag
pick them
everything.
up. We do it to fish.
We're tagging
do it
the
to
same, but
fish.
they don't have to tag nobody. They already
Yes,
know who
they
you
We're
are.
also
No, they
we're
don't.
also
Aliens know who you are.
advancing.
There's no need for the aliens to tag you, my friend.
Person talk about,
We're also. How do you feel about cloned meat? You want to
Yeah,
talk
I know,
about?
that's
Talk
next
about
on the list. It ain't even cloned. It's grown. It ain't even cloned. It's being
Yeah, man.
grown.
It's creepy, right?
That-
But it's
Right.
unbelievably
DNA
bad for human
tagging.
cells. What?
DNA tagging.
It ain't
Yeah.
DNA tag. They don't have to tag you. They know who
Yeah,
you
but
are.
why
They
would
know
you
you from
want
your family
to?
line.
Why would you want to? You know what? I'm a
Right,
data
that's the
guy.
question.
I data mine all the time. There's a lot of information out there. All right. When the government started the Information Awareness Office a bunch of years ago, I was kicking and
my
screaming.
God.
It was against people's rights and whatever, right? But what they do, they developed a software called TIA, Total Information Awareness, which was a collection of everything and anything, man. You use your Shopper Club's card, you buy something, whatever you get from the bank. They tracked your cash. They even wanted to track cash through the serial numbers on the money, right? And then Congress deemed it 6 years later that it was against people's rights.
all
So
true,
they killed the
True.
program. They took the TIA software and put it into the NSA, and then they use it there. But my question was, what are you going to do with the information? So I bought a goddamn bottle of ketchup. What are you going to do with it? And unless you have a destination for your information, that information is useless. And what you're doing, then you don't have enough field agents or analysts to sit there and then data mine all that to kind of put it into a package. It's different than just tracking somebody. You want to track someone, you can do that all day long.
That's not how it works, Mike. It's never worked that way.
I can track you through your cell phone, through your voice. All I need is a little snippet of your voice. You feed it into that NSA computer, and no matter what you talk on, no matter what, it could be a CD, could be it doesn't matter. If whatever you talk on gets recorded, and then your location gets triangulated, they know where you are. But why? Why even bother?
There's lots of things they can't record, and what they use is keyword technology. They don't even use full. When Snowden got out, he backed me up on this. I used to tell everybody
they've
all the time,
always used keyword technology, even back when they did phones.
But they use algorithms to do it. That's right. They use it for text. They use it for your computer. Use it for your phone. They use it for anything that broadcasts. They use keyword technology because there's too many words to sit and listen to, even for a computer. There's just too much of it. So they use a keyword technology, and what it does is, if Michael and I are talking and he uses certain words in a sentence or in a paragraph, and he uses them at least twice, it will flag him. And then what it'll do is it'll flag either NSA or an FBI flag. And it won't even go to a real person. It'll go to another computer. That computer will actually do a background scan.
Joe Montaldo told me about a recent acquisition of plastic explosives, and he said, "I hate America. I love Al Qaeda."
So they're only going to look at Michael. They're going to say on there, "Oh, he's just a big ass," and then they're just going to move on. That's all they're going to do. And the government ain't stupid. They've been doing this for a long, long time. They know who the threat is. Or if they didn't, we constantly having shit blown up around our country like the Middle East does and Europe does. To be constant explosions. But we actually have pretty good software that really does check keywords pretty good. But it's all and if you do it enough times, they will show up at your house and knock on your door, even if you live in Canada. And say,
I love Putin.
You're going Canada now?
They'll go Canada. They'll go Mexico too.
Can I interject here?
They have no qualms with that.
Based on the last question that Cerrito had asked, he said, the reason why I asked is because I used to have a power, which I called vision, on where I can contact extraterrestrials in a mind awake and body asleep state. I would be able to contact high vibratory beings to aid me on learning my purpose in life and what to do in it. And I'd like to know how to get my ability back and how.
Well,
Joe,
you see how that went differently? That went like left field?
No, I know, but you see, I'm trying to pay attention to who's in the chat since it's a Q&A. I know we're off topic with the questions, but
I would say
it's a question.
A stun gun would help him. He could stun gun himself, get that electricity going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it's an interesting question.
And then the psychic.
Yeah,
I would suggest asking the ET that took the ability away from you,
or a good psychiatrist. Either or.
It's probably more about belief than it is anything else. If you stop believing,
then you have to actually think about what they were doing in Tibet and doing all this stuff there, where they were doing into mysticism and contacting things. Where they
I want to tell you something about my New Age friends get really mad at me for what I'm about to say.
You're gonna contact me from the America, but the thing is, was that Asian cultures were actually
shit on their entire existence, destroyed, conquered, wiped off the face of the planet. Yes, because what they believe in is garbage.
No.
Yes,
not that. But they were actually dealing with mysticism and getting in touch.
Apparently, they weren't doing a good job of it because they got their butts handed to them several occasions.
Okay.
See, that's the problem with believing in stuff like this. Either it works or it doesn't. And actions speak louder than words and everything on our planet. Doesn't matter what it is. Actions always will speak louder than words. So if you're preaching, bopping, bebopping, or saying whatever, and nothing's coming out of it, it means it's worth what? Nothing. That's what it means. You're not getting to a higher level. You're still stuck on this rock with everybody else. Your country's being overrun by Chinese. Look at Tibet. Tibet's supposed to be one of the most mysterious places in the world. And who owns them? China. No, and what's going on there? They're slaves.
Joe, this is what you believe because
who's worth 150 million?
This is fact. There's no belief here. Nothing I'm saying is involved in belief. Everything I'm saying is fact. There's no belief there. I mean, Tibet's been conquered how many times? How many times? Everything's fact, baby. We deal with facts. And Tibet's been conquered 3 times that I know of. That's a fact.
That's your belief.
It's not my belief. They've been conquered, Del. That's not a belief. That's history, my friend.
Oh my God!
The Dalai Lama screwed them first.
I know Dalai
Lama had a treasure drive. They collected over 2,000 tons of treasure for the Dalai Lama.
I know, that's a shame. The man can't even live in his own country. Got to come live over here with us.
No, he's in India. He has a palace. They built him a palace. He's worth 150 million. The guy could do anything he wants to do. Yeah, he doesn't care about his damn people, though. Yeah, he gives those little statements on wisdom that don't amount to anything. That in a bucket by your coat.
He can't go home, and his people can't come to him. Yeah, they had so much.
They don't want him there. They're happy without him.
It might be up.
Stay out.
He needs to bring his money back.
All these guys, they put on a dress and they make hundreds of millions of bucks. Look at the Pope.
If I have a palace in an island that I can go to, do I care about my 100 million or my 200 billion? No, I don't.
You most certainly do. You wouldn't have the money in the first place. You don't get money if you don't care about money, Dale. That's a fact.
As long as there's a crate there, it's all good.
You don't get money if you don't care about money. If you don't care about your money, what happens to it? It goes away quickly.
You get married. You get married.
Michael, tell him, Michael.
Mike knows. Mike's been there himself. He knows what I'm talking about.
Michael,
you gotta keep an eye on that shit like a hawk, man.
Oh my God! Says Joe, you're missing the whole point. Okay, look at if I have an island that I'm on and then I have millions of dollars there, I don't need to worry about the place that I came from.
Yeah, you do, because you might lose your money.
What are you talking about?
You might go away, man. You might get nuked. You might need to be poor again. Don't forget.
Okay, so you're talking military-wise.
I'm not military-wise. Think about what happened twice in this country. Twice in this country. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about a weapon. I'm talking about a financial nuke. There's a difference.
It
happened. It just happened. 6 years ago? Half the planet went bankrupt.
Michael, explain self-sufficiency to Joe.
Canada can never be self-sufficient. There's nobody in Canada that's going to be self-sufficient. That's a lot of crap.
Well, you need weapons.
I know, man. They can't even defend themselves, but they're gonna be self-sufficient.
No, you can. You know what you do? I looked into this a long time ago. You're talking to the right person, because I was looking into buying an island with a couple of friends of mine. And as long as you keep your ports open to the U.S. will give you on average $500 million a year. And they don't not that they would even come and use the place, just that you are exclusively keeping your ports open to the U.S. and U.S. interests. That's all. $500 million a year, man. That's how you make money. You get
Yes.
you got your island, you got your $500 million, you got your self-sustaining, you got
I got a question.
wind power.
Why are there so many shithole poor islands around the planet? If that's true,
Because people are
Okay.
stupid.
I mean, let's just look
You
at
know what?
Haiti
Because
alone, man. Oh my
Because
God,
those
man.
islands are
Oh my
owned by other
God.
countries like England and France.
See?
You think England and France cares about people?
Nope.
Oh,
Ain't no
shame.
utopia if England and France.
Anyway,
owned it.
I'm about to mute both of y'all if y'all don't get off of
Oh
politics.
my God. Ah,
Only
no,
one of
I-
We're
y'all
talking
getting one.
paranormal.
I agree with Michael. I'm going to stay with this on this show.
And I agree with Dell.
Paranormal. I agree with Michael with island resources, and I think that's the truth of the world.
You might have been able to be self-reliant 100 years ago. But today, nope, ain't gonna happen.
But
It ain't gonna happen because your
anyways,
neighbors will just come take it away from you.
8 p.m. Eastern Time, Mattel Derogier is checking out with the delicious recipe here on UPRN.
Anyway, I know.
I also designed
We
an
got a bunch of
artificial
retards.
island made out of wires.
Go live in China for that. They got lots of artificial islands. And again, why are these islands so poor? American islands are poor. I mean, look at Puerto Rico. It's a shithole.
Yeah, you're picking the shithole islands.
No,
Picking
no,
the
you
shithole-
just said you'll get $500,000. If $500,000 free, you wouldn't be a shithole. That's
Hey,
not
look at-
true. I'm calling y'all
Michael
out on your
just said
BS.
that
What I'm
$500
doing.
million
I'm
a
calling you
year
out on
just
your
to open up
BS.
port. U.S.
No.
money.
What do you think? Cuba don't have ports? You don't think Haiti's got ports? You don't think the Virgin Islands got ports? Of course they
you
do.
think if I opened up an
They give
island there
no
and
money.
I had a contract with DARPA that they wouldn't support my island?
DARPA wouldn't support your island. They would take your island. Oh my God, you can't even be that dumb, man. Jesus, they would take your island and shoot you.
Well,
Oh my God.
They're not going to pay you for your island. They're going to take it away from you. They're not going to pay anybody for the island. They're just going to take it away from them.
Oh,
You ever heard?
I got guns.
Bikini Atoll?
I'm not like those Canadian guys, man. I
Heard
got
about the
guns.
Bikini Atoll Islands? Ask what happened to them.
And I know people that sell missiles too, so I'm not worried.
This is paranormal.
That's the least of my worries.
We're now in 007 James Bond territory now.
We got the Navy protecting us, man. That's for
We're
that.
talking paranormal. I kicked the dog out for a potty break, and this is what happens. The whole conversation with the boys. The girls aren't doing it. The boys are doing it. Back in the
two
cages.
retards trying to BS me, and I won't let them get away with it.
Oh,
I called them both out, man. They've been trying to put out some BS. I'm like, man, we ain't letting that slide. No BS allowed.
Okay,
Joe.
so did I miss the question? Did you answer this? You said, "What's everybody's favorite investigator?" Is that what you asked, Joe, originally?
Yes.
And he said,
favorite
Control
one
the beliefs.
is
That was it.
I said you can't say anybody on stations. What I said.
Oh, you can't say anybody on the station?
No, that's cheat. Because all three of my favorites would be on the station, so that's cheating.
I did think about an answer on outside, and I was going to say many people on the station, but I'll be very honest with you. The majority of people that are on TV are not my favorites. It's people that are down to earth, open-minded, knowledgeable, willing to have a conversation. You may not agree, but you can agree to disagree. You can learn something from each other. They have a good knowledge of history. They have a good knowledge. Not everybody has the answers, but they're really well-rounded. They've got a lot of knowledge base and with a lot of people. So that wouldn't be people that anybody would necessarily know, but there are people on this panel even that are some of my favorite researchers. I defer to some of these people, even what's been going on in their own home, but as well, even a lot of people I have on the show, and that's why I like having regular everyday people, if I do, that are doing really great things that are making a change for humanity, whether that's paranormal or anything else, because I think those are the people that do the living, the breathing, and a lot of the bulk of the work. They do. That's my answer. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear, but
That's chicken out answer, but no, still, I'll let you slide. But
I don't think
so
it's chicken answer.
I'm getting okay. Like here, I got Pal Talk. They're saying Jason Grant, Jason Grant, and then some woman I've never heard of 3 times. I don't know who the hell this is, and then Michelle's name's in there a few times. I still don't know who this Leslie who. I don't know who the hell that is. I don't know. who that is.
Well, Jason and Grant don't do UFOs, man.
No, they said, but they're talking about both fields.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant like
no, in
UFO
both fields. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, because I've been picking on Michelle, calling her Canada's Elvira. Yeah, I see that. I seen that in the chat the other day. I know.
Yeah, but the reason why I
favorite is
like
Jim.
Michelle, she's down to earth. She's willing to have a conversation. You can learn from her, as well as I think you're open minded. I've told you guys have heard me say many times to Michael too. Michael has a really great knowledge. I love the show that you have on YouTube. I've given you a shout out many times because it's good quality. Some of the pictures you've taken, I've shared them in my paranormal group. People have gone crazy over them because you know what I mean? But you're down to earth about it. You can have a conversation. You can learn from each other. Those are the kind of people I like to have a conversation or connect with that are, I consider, experts in the field.
Key said, why don't we start a school for the youngsters? What do you mean for the beginners, right? You didn't mean for
Hogwarts.
youngsters, yeah.
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts.
No, over the years we've got a lot of good paranormal people on the show. And if I bring on these other three hosts I'm bringing on, we'll have like top 5 or 6 best paranormal people in the whole damn field. So it's a hard thing though. Who's my favorite? I told you I couldn't say earlier because they're all on the stage. A little piece of that and a little piece of that other weird thing.
I don't have a
I'll say Jim.
Other weird thing.
Jim.
That scares me right there.
Yes.
I'd say Jim Mars, man. Jim Mars is my favorite. Jim Mars is one of the most knowledgeable. He was one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever talked to. Pretty amazing, man. I miss him a lot.
I do too. Him and I had many debates, and they were always good ones. And he always got great ratings, and he was always on his game, is what I like. Even when he was sick, because I had done 3 interviews with him just before he had passed, 2 ufology and one. Mike was on one of those interviews, but and one of them was the political arena. But he's always a wealth of knowledge. I hated to see him go. Most of the ufologists today are just paper ufologists. They're not. They've got a book or 2 to their credit, but nothing. None of it's what bothers me is when I look at ufology and paranormal for that, where most of the people I meet, it's not their research. It's somebody else's research that they're either trying to capitalize on or trying to use for their own, but it's not really their research. It's like because even on this network, we're guilty as ourselves because we bring on a lot of guests who have done research on people that we've personally met, like the parents. I mean, they've been on the network several times, but we've had lots of other people on who have done research on them on the network. So it's not actually original research. It's other people's research that just gets passed around. So you see a lot of that in ufology. You get a lot of books that are, let me write books on all these people's cases that have already been written about, or on techniques they'll take a technique from different people and they'll add it into one book, but it's all somebody else's techniques. I guess it's hard to come up with new things and new imagination all the time. And I know for the paranormal, it's the same way because I had a friend of mine the other day because we're going to do a show on this. Actually, I'm going to talk to Michelle about this because this was a request, but somebody sent me a list of paranormal gadgets. Okay. So they sent me this list of paranormal gadgets. So I looked at them, most of them are recognizable gadgets for stuff that I've seen before here or there or there or here. So I asked somebody, I said, can you send me a list of paranormal gadgets from 25 or 30 years ago? Basically, it was the same gadgets. Of course, they were in different shapes, sizes, and forms. And, the O meter was like this big from back then, and today it's this big. And so I can see you walking in a field with this thing, like this. And the lasers, God, you had to have a damn car to run the damn things back in the day. But still, it's still basically the same stuff, but it's been upgraded. So I'm sitting there going, and a lot of these things I use at work, not for paranormal stuff, for work. Different types of meters. You'd like the O meter I use in the studio all the time, but I use a lot of different meters, from temperature meters to heat sensors to other things at work on a regular basis. Magnetic field detectors and stuff like that. 'Cause it's just stuff we use. And I was like, and I said, so these are all used to find ghosts. I said, so if something happens, like if we're sitting here and all 5 of these meters start going off, it means there's a ghosty in the house, right? Is that right? Because I was giving a shit about it. He's like, well, why do you think that's going to happen? I said, just give it a minute. And then all 7 actually of these meters went off. He's like, the house is haunted. His house is not haunted. I said, his house is. I gotta
say though,
3 foot of salt.
when it comes to paranormal equipment, there's people that rip you off blind off of these things. Because like you said, as a contractor, you work with all these detectors and gauges, man. I mean, you can go to Home Depot and buy any of that stuff cheap, 10, $15 for, so you can measure all kinds of stuff.
That is very
commercial
true,
grade.
And
commercial grade.
I've talked about this many times about understanding about electronics and picking up are not the same. They're not functional or relevant. And I even talked about this about people who using EM meters there, and people that don't understand. They're saying that, oh, well, they're picking up words through there, but you understand that frequencies and radio frequencies come through and that you pick up.
Yeah, it's Jack's funny because he was showing me we were doing all these things. He goes, but I'm gonna show you the only tool I ever use, and of course it's his cell. He's very sensitive to any change in temperature. I mean, this some bitch, even 2 degrees, he's whining it's cold or it's hot. Any type of magnetic electric field, his hair just stands right up on his arm. He'll be walking through a graveyard, standing on both arms. We're laughing at him. You can see the smoke going through, and it's hilariously funny. But he's really hypersensitive. So really, in his case, he don't need any of the things. He's pretty much the instrument itself. I've never really needed him for anything because, okay, I walk through a cool spot. Well, I don't need the temperature gauge. You told me I just walk through a cold spot. Now, if I'm sitting there scanning a room, I guess it could be handy for that kind of stuff. And they are effective. I mean, you can go outside like my yard and face it down to the ground right now. It would say 69, shoot it straight up in the air, and it would say like 18 below or something. Because it'll go up to, I think, 2 miles. But they are useful, but I don't know for chasing ghosts. I like the old-fashioned way of chasing ghosts. Use your eyes and your ears, your nose, Ghosties can be stinky.
Your good old common sense, pen and paper.
I thought you were going to say Jack Daniels.
Spirit. Hey, that might work. I don't know.
Well, that'll make you see
the
spirits.
old-fashioned way.
Put a glass out there for spirit.
Yep. Yes.
I put a glass out.
Just get
Now you put some milk out for ho-ho. Put a glass out for the spirit.
And that's a whole new
Think
New
you're
Year's
better
show.
than me. Yeah.
I'd have to question electronics, and the thing is, though, is even when it's going with any part of electronics, there too is that there's things that can happen that. I was shut off. Am I shut off?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. It says
You're
can't
off.
see you no more.
We can't hear you.
Oh my God. Aliens are dragging you by your hell, Del.
What happened to Del?
I'm not in the cage. I'm upstairs.
Oh my God. You look like you can take
The alien's dragging him into the cage.
It's the ghost.
Oh, man.
It's the ghost that jumped on your back, Del, that you were laughing about earlier.
Get this alien off my back.
With electronics and like even with like these EM meters, it's like you can't.
Well, you know what? Electronics, they measure frequency. So just like the voice you talk with, it goes through your larynx. It's causing vibrations in the air, and then it's causing frequency so people can hear it or they can detect it with their ears, right? And then, maybe on other levels that you wouldn't be able to hear sounds like that, or, if you look at the quantum level. And I think that, quantum's the micro level. We're the macro level. I also think there's a larger level, which I call a mega level. So, I mean, and it makes sense because of all the levels in nature, right? But think about it. If the spirit's there and they're trying to contact you in that cold spot, a lot of people feel they're drawing they're drawing the heat from the air as electric to kind of generate or manifest themselves, right? And like you said, when it's hot, you didn't see a lot of activity. I've seen like the best activity when it's hot out. I've gotten full body apparitions and pictures with hot and sultry air, and you do feel those cold spots, right? But who's to say that I have EVPs. They weren't there in the room. I have they don't sound like us. It doesn't carry, but I hear it. I have Class A EVPs. Class A EVPs. In one session, I swear I had an answer for every question. You heard a real faint female voice and an answer for every. I was bugged out when I listened to it, but that was a recorder, an Olympus that cost me, I think, $40. I've had it for 14 years. It still works beautifully. The equipment I use is cheap, It's not, and I try everything. I've done FLIR cameras,
Yeah.
to do the whole. I mean, you name it. And those
Yep.
ghost hunter guys, you see, the people on TV have ratings, and they have to be able to maintain. They have to be able to produce activity, and not,
No, No. I'll stop you there. It said, no, the people on TV there are looking for ratings. That's true.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when they go and put on a script on the bottom says, did you hear that? It says, get out. And then all of a sudden you think about, oh, that's what the FLIR or that's what the recording or was saying. It says, get out. People on thinking that's what it said. Right?
Well, I don't know. Some of the
programming.
EVPs that we got from our old house, I never did EVP work in our house, but there was a friend of mine who used to call into a show, Jason Bland, on Paranormal Soup, and it was Halloween a couple of years in a row. There were crazy stuff. They mentioned Dell by name. They've called my name on there. It clears, and it literally sounded like they were joking. It sounded like somebody from Slytherin from Harry Potter, like a snake, and this raspy voice. And it was talking about searching. I watched this live. So they didn't know I was going to call in or anything like that. It was crazy. Some of the communication that came through. So again, and you guys are talking about equipment. What I found, I think maybe it's the person's energy. I'm not sure, because you're right, Michael. Some people can use like really old equipment and it works beautifully for them. You don't have to have the most expensive equipment. And I don't know, I guess you kind of go with whatever you get results with. I don't know, Michelle, what do you think?
We put powder on the floor to get footprints. That sounds crazy, but we got boot prints one time, in this old museum from the early 1800s in upstate New York. I mean, just, I don't know. It's whatever you can use to get the results, really, right?
What do you think, Michelle?
Oh, I try not to do that.
Not the powder. We did actually try. I think I tried the powder once at our house.
Yeah, we've tried it. It works really well. Let's go back to basics.
Don't get me wrong. It says, I believe there is stuff that we don't know out there, and I think there's things that happen that is amazing. And I think that we don't understand anything that's going on there beyond the veil. And when that stuff,
do you believe in the fourth dimension?
Well, it doesn't matter. Fourth dimension, fifth dimension, 2 dimensions.
No. Do you believe in the fourth dimension? I mean, we know about the first two and third. There's 3.
I believe this is what I believe. I don't know enough.
I believe there's many dimensions. I believe that across the veil, whatever you want to call it, that past, present, future are happening at the same time. I believe that there's probably multiple versions of ourselves in different dimensions. I was just having this conversation with someone last night.
And this is going to be a funny thing, because in the next hour, me and Michelle Drogier are going to talk about dimensional pizza.
Well,
as
you know what?
Move forward.
What, Michael?
I mean, dimensionally speaking, we wouldn't be able to witness the fourth dimension. Only contact points if it actually intruded at any point within the third dimension. So it's not something that we'd even technically be able to see, but it's something that we could interact with, which I think is very interesting.
Well, Hermit Crab in the chat says, first of all, they said creepy. Then they said time and space is in the fourth dimension. That's what their belief system is.
Time's an illusion, right?
I agree.
I mean, a lot of scientists believe in a block universe. So if it's a block universe, this already happened. In fact, it's almost like accessing the files on a computer at that rate, but it's all in a chronological order.
So this is the thing that's really funny, though, is that time is only relative to yourself, of your existence of life, because my time and your time are 2 different separate entities. So that's the truth. That's belief out of there.
Everything has its own timeline. Every piece of hair on your head has its own timeline.
Right.
Think about that. I mean, so if you get down to micro level, everything, it gets pretty deep. We can go down into the atomic level. It gets real deep with what we're made of. and what we create. I don't know. I like it.
What do you think,
because
Michelle,
it all
about
links
dimensions
to
and
me.
time?
It all links up for me. And all the energy. We talked about music. I did a whole show talking about turning music into numbers, into mathematical equations.
Yeah.
It was so hard to find that information, but I did my research and I did find it, and it's just fascinating subject of the frequency, how the guitar string and how that works. That string is much like all of life. That vibration, the vibration, right? You know that word really well because we all encounter vibrations,
Yeah.
What do you think, Michelle, about time and dimensions?
I believe in the theory of multi-universes simultaneously going on. I think sometimes, is that what a time slip is? When you're communicating with something, is it from another time that's going on with yours? Just different, again, time and space, just, being in a different time, being within your space. Like it's just something that's ongoing research, but then you wouldn't be able to trust a lot of your EVPs either.
It's true.
That's where everything goes and everything falls apart, right? If your time and your understanding is only your time and space, is that the same as Joe Blow's down the road?
Well, it's like when you see, let's say, alleged time travelers, are you just getting a snapshot from, a different dimension? Or are they really coming from another time period?
Or is it make believe and it's just something that you just imagined?
That could be that too.
Well, Hermit Crab says, go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
No, that depends on how many drinks I've had.
Yes. Hermit Crab in the chat, and I apologize for anybody. A lot of people know this, but we seem to have I don't know if it's because there's two of us. I always seem to have a delay with Skype up here, so I'm not purposely talking over anybody. But they said that I reckon a multiverse theory is trying to explain the incredible fine-tuning of the universe, and they put in brackets atomic weight, etc. Then they added neutral, negative, and positive energy in perfect balance equals all matter in the universe.
Mm.
I don't know, but does that exist on an island down in the Caribbean that you can go down there with $1 million and have fun? Hey, Joe?
All Canadians
you have our own currency, man.
I think that time is a man-made concept.
Y'all got banned from Australia and New Zealand too. I heard y'all getting banned out. Y'all getting more banned than we are. I didn't think that was possible.
Oh
We'll
my
start a whole
God.
bunch of offshore
y'all
banks.
got they were listing the islands that y'all us in the UK are banned from. And we're banned from a shitload of them. I mean, a shitload of them.
Y'all.
What they did is Canada got in trouble for not making people quarantine when they came into their country, so that's why y'all got banned. America got banned. Yeah, America got banned for a whole entirely different reason, and the UK got banned because their corona cases are through the roof right now. And so they just went on a ban and let them ban. That's just money that we're not spending in their country. That's all I mean.
True.
That's money we're spending in our own country. God knows we need it right now.
I'm going to ask this question there, Joe. Okay, so money you're not spending in other countries, but your COVID bill, which was not even actually a COVID bill, was spending money in other countries.
Allies, it's different.
Oh, okay.
Pakistan.
Got to keep
for
our allies.
Transgender studies.
Can't let our allies go.
I guess we're almost done tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we got to go. Actually, we're getting ready to get out of here. We're going. No, Jessica, I agree with you. What can I say then? I'll change it when I post it in a little while. Yeah, I'll change it. It's no, that's only because I got preoccupied earlier in the show. No. Sorry, I'm answering the question. No. Okay, no, that's all it is. Anyway, it was almost like 35 questions. They're all no's. But no, we got to go. I know Adele's coming up next. The rest of us are getting out of here. I was going to say Michelle. Lori's going to be on in a little while.
I'm having a different show tonight too. Well, Michelle's going to be on with Del, so they're going to be discussing the paranormal and history. And yes, I will be on right after, an hour later. But I am having Shayla B on tonight, a drag queen, my son. So we're going to talk about drag in history and some of the things going on with drag, maybe straighten out a few myths or misconceptions and sort of the history. And I think she's getting ready while we're on the show on camera. So stick to the YouTube channel and you can ask questions or like. Thanks for having us, guys. I love doing this with you guys.
I'm fixing to be invaded and eaten by chihuahuas here in a minute if I don't get off of here.
I want to thank people in the
You hear him
chat
back
too.
there
Those good
snorting.
questions and comments in there tonight in the YouTube chat. They were really well, a lot of really great questions and comments there. So
I don't speak snort. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got to get out of here because they're coming up next. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Any moans, groans, bitches, and complaints, you can write to us at icar@cox.net.
ooh,
If you want to be probed by an extraterrestrial, you will have to write to Bubbles the Gray for that. I hear she bought an extra probing stick. I'm not sure what that's about, but we'll find out when
Got your name on it though.
No. She said this one wasn't for me. Just had something to do with some Canadian. Some Canadian guys that got in trouble up there recently. I don't know what that's about, but I don't pry in people's personal affairs, especially when there's probing involved. I don't even want to hear about that. But we got to go, guys and girls. Again, thanks everyone for tuning in. United Public Radio, Paranormal Talk. I know Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be doing a lot of politics because we have 2 runoff elections in the United States, and they're big ones. Both these have something. If both of them go one way or the other way, it makes a big difference in how things pan out, not just for
election
us.
show.
So anyway, on that note, good night and stay tuned for the delicious death. We'll talk to y'all later, guys and girls.
Bye.
Bye night.